The first thing you notice is the silence, not the absence of sound. The absence of sound. The oxygen recycler still clicks behind your ear. The ship still hums through the soles of your boots. But underneath all of it, a silence with weight. A silence that presses against your visor like something outside is leaning in. Your right hand is shaking. You notice it the way you notice a crack in a wall you've walked past 100 times, slowly, distantly, like it belongs to someone else. But it's yours and it won't stop. The console reads 3 things: velocity, heading, and fuel cells. All 3 are reading 0. You already ran the calculations twice. You already sent the beacon. You already said what needed to be said to the people who needed to hear it. Because that light will take 11 years to reach them, long after whatever's left of you has been compressed beyond the boundary of any known physics. You were falling into Sagittarius A, 4 million solar masses, the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way, a gravitational drain the size of nothing, pulling everything toward it at the speed of nothing escaping, and you are falling. The ship shudders. A grinding vibration rolls through the hull like a sound you feel in your back teeth. You reach for the emergency thruster toggle and hold it. Not because it will work, you know it won't work, but because holding something is the only thing keeping you from coming apart before the gravity does it for you. Mission Control. This is Commander Voss aboard the perihelion. Engines are non-responsive. Trajectory is confirmed. I am on approach to the event horizon. Please log this in full. Please let someone read it someday. The stars ahead of you are moving, not drifting, bending. The light reaching your viewport is being pulled sideways, stretched into halos around a shape that has no shape, a presence that exists precisely because nothing can escape it. The black hole doesn't look like a hole. It looks like a bruise on the fabric of the sky. Like the universe forgot to finish drawing something and left a void where the rest should be. And it is getting larger. Time dilation begins the way grief begins. You don't notice it at first, then you notice everything. Your suit clock reads 14 hours since engine failure. The deep space relay reads 11, and the gap is widening. Gravity is pulling the hands of time apart at their joints, stretching seconds until a moment here lasts longer than a moment anywhere else in the observable universe. You are aging slower than any human being who has ever lived. You think about the crew at the relay station. From their perspective, your ship is a pale streak approaching a dark mirror, slowing to imperceptible drift. The signal from your transmitter stretching into longer and longer wavelengths, you fading from red to infrared to radio silence. A ghost preserved at the boundary. A photograph that never finishes being taken. 43 years old. Going to die at 43, and technically, relative to the rest of the species, you might outlive every single one of them. The irony is too large to be funny, and too funny to be ignored. The optical distortion is worsening. The surviving stars are smearing into rings, a perfect Einstein ring around the horizon, like the universe is examining itself in a broken mirror. Blue-shifted radiation from the accretion disk hammers your visor's filters. You feel the heat now. A low, invisible pressure against your face through the glass. The suit's temperature is dropping. Heater running on emergency reserves. You exhale, and you can almost see your breath. Almost. You watch the accretion disk. You know what it is. Superheated plasma. Magnetized gas. The torn apart remains of stars unlucky enough to pass too close, ripped into ribbons and flung into orbit at fractions of the speed of light. You know that. But something deeper in you, the part that crouches in the dark, looks at that rim of fire and sees a mouth, a throat, something that swallows everything and gives back nothing. You cross the event horizon. You do not feel it. That's the part no one tells you. There is no wall. There is no gate. The event horizon is a boundary in mathematics, a threshold past which the geometry of space-time changes, where every possible direction a particle can travel curves inward, toward the singularity, forever. Even light. Even time. The transmitter light just went dark. No signal out. Not because the equipment failed, because there is no out anymore. The direction called away no longer exists in your reference frame. Whatever you say from this point forward, you say only to yourself. to the inside of this ship, to whatever version of physics is waiting at the end of this fall. You are the most alone any human being has ever been. Just breathe. Just breathe. The ship is groaning now, not vibrating, groaning. The tidal differential between the near end of the vessel and the far end is measured in values your engineering team said you would never encounter in any survivable scenario. The metal is complaining. The metal is losing the argument. You feel it in your spine first. A pulling. Gentle, almost curious, like gravity is asking a question. Like it wants to see how much of you it can take before you notice. But you notice. You notice when your boots feel heavier than your helmet. You notice when the biometric display shows blood pooling toward your feet faster than your heart can compensate. You notice when the haptic sensors register that your hands are drifting forward, toward the singularity, faster than your shoulders. Spaghettification. Someone coined that word in a warm office somewhere, for the process by which an object crossing a tidal gradient is elongated atom by atom into a thread, a strand, a geometry so thin it stops being a shape and becomes only a direction. The oxygen recycler has stopped cycling. It doesn't matter. Nothing about the ship matters anymore. The perihelion is folding. This vessel, your home for 9 months in the dark, is being dismantled by mathematics, by the ruthless, indifferent application of Einstein's field equations to every rivet, every panel, every photograph still magneted to the wall above your bunk. And then? Quiet. The pain is gone. Not because you are healing, because what is being stretched no longer has the architecture to carry distress signals. The nerve endings are too far apart. The distance between one moment and the next has grown too vast for anything to travel. You are still thinking. You don't know how that's possible. Maybe consciousness doesn't require the proximity of its own components. Maybe the mind is not a place but a pattern, and patterns outlast matter. The singularity is ahead, not ahead in space. There is no space. Ahead in the only remaining direction. A point. A mathematical object with zero volume and infinite density. A location where every equation that has ever described the physical universe breaks down and returns the same answer. Undefined. You are about to learn what that means. The light of every star you ever sailed past is behind you now, frozen at the moment it crossed this threshold, suspended forever at the edge of something that does not give back. But you kept going. You are the only mind that has ever seen what exists on the other side of everything. And the last thought you have, stretched across a distance that has no measure, in a time that runs in no direction, is not fear. It is not grief. It is something closer to the feeling at the end of a very long story, when the last page turns, when the words stop, and there is only the quiet of having arrived somewhere no map has ever named. You let go.